Two Americans held captive by Hamas have now been released. The Palestinian faction Hamas has said that the mother-daughter duo were allowed to go on humanitarian grounds. And for the first time in over a fortnight, a handful of trucks of humanitarian aid have also been allowed to enter into the Gaza Strip from the Rafah border crossing. Human rights activists say that this is nothing more than a drop in the ocean. An estimated 2.3 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have been starved for almost about a fortnight with no access to food, water, medicines, electricity and other essential supplies. But is there a possibility of a de-escalation in this conflict? Well, not really, because the indications that are coming in about what is unfolding at the moment are really dire. The possibility that this war will spread beyond the borders of Gaza is very real. The Americans aren't just pumping in more and more weapons and giving them to the Israelis to be dropped on the Gaza Strip. They've also stationed two of their biggest aircraft carriers and are sending an estimated 2,000 military personnel to Israel. The question is, what is the level of American involvement in this war? And also, what has sparked concerns amongst the American defense analysts are reports that at least about 6 Chinese naval vessels have been stationed in West Asia amidst the Israeli war. Our next report gets you more details. This is the Gaza city. Neighborhood after neighborhood has been reduced to rubble, and the local Palestinian people say these buildings were once full of civilians, and none of the civilians here had anything to do with Hamas. What has been bombed to smithereens aren't just people's homes, but everything that they owned, their life savings, their livelihoods, their dreams, and their life. In another part of the Gaza city, an Israeli bomb has flattened a building. As the rescue workers pull out the bodies from under the rubble, it becomes clear that the entire Abu Akr family has been killed in this attack.
While they were sleeping, the strike hit them. Innocent children with their father and grandmother were hit while they were sleeping with an airstrike. What did they do? Did they carry weapons? These are innocent children who know nothing. Tell us, when will this end? We've been in a war for years and people are just watching.
Those Palestinians who managed to stay alive in the Israeli onslaught say that they're just lucky. And the Americans are pumping in more and more weapons into the conflict. There are even reports that the United States is sending artillery shells to Israel that were originally meant for Ukraine. And amidst this mayhem, there's been the first glimmer of hope. 2 American women, 51-year-old Judith and a teenage daughter Natalie Ranan, have been released by Hamas on humanitarian grounds. For the first time in a fortnight, the Rafah border crossing opened briefly. A handful of trucks filled with humanitarian aid were allowed to pass through, and immediately afterwards, the Rafah crossing was again bombed.
American leadership is what holds the world together.
The American involvement in this war is continuously increasing.
American values.
2,000 American troops have been put on deployment alert, and they would be involved in support roles such as medical assistance and handling explosives. The United States has also vetoed a United Nations resolution calling for a humanitarian ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. While America's USS Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group and USS Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group have been rushed to Israel's assistance and to warn off any state or non-state actors from getting involved in the conflict. But reports of 6 Chinese warships in West Asia amidst this bruising war backed by the United States has caused a lot of concern. It is not clear why the Chinese warships are lurking in these waters, but China's recent clear stance blaming the United States for the crisis in West Asia for backing the Israeli war on Gaza is raising a lot of concerns in Washington. But away from the cynical geopolitics and muscle flexing, the common Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are praying for peace. At this Orthodox Christian church in Ramallah, the pastor has a clear message.
رسالتنا للعالم
Our message to the world is to end this war that is causing devastation to the Gaza Strip, which resulted in the deaths of innocent Palestinian people. Peace will be established only when a Palestinian state exists, which will help spread freedom and justice among everyone. Today, the Palestinian people in Gaza are suffering, and we offer our prayers to end this suffering and this war and destruction.
تنتهي هذه المعاناة وأن ينتهي الحرب والدمار على أبناء شعبنا الفلسطيني.